Well, good evening, everybody, and this is the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for November the 22nd, 2022. We are called to order. I'm going to call the roll. Vice Mayor Barnhill.
Here.
Alderman Blanton.
Here.
Alderman Hanson.
Here.
Alderman Peterson.
Here.
Alderman Berger.
Present.
Alderman Brown.
Present.
Alderman Potts.
Present.
He's down in the audience. And Alderman Baggett.
Present.
And the mayor's here also, so everybody's in attendance tonight. Tonight, we're going to start with invocation. We're honored to have Dr. Kenneth Hill from Shorter Chapel AME Church, who will offer the invocation. He's promised it will not be over the usual 30 minutes. So we're honored that you're here with us and that you're very active in our community and do a lot of things for us. And then I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll all stand. Dr. Hill, please.
God, we're so grateful and thankful during this season, thankfulness, that we are thankful that we're able to come together as one. God, continue to bless us. May your spirit guide our board and the cities and the citizens of Franklin. May we walk together. Bless this gathering. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And the next item on the agenda is an opportunity for citizens to make comments on items that are not on the agenda. And our routine is there are speaker cards at the pillar in the middle of the room, and you fill those out and you get those to us. That's also true if there's a public hearing and an opportunity to speak. Tonight, we're honored to have Tom Freeman here, who wants to make a citizen comment. And so if you'll come up to the podium, Tom, and introduce yourself, and thank you for your service to our country.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Alderman. My name is Tom Freeman. My address for this purpose will be P.O. Box 1884, Brentwood. I came here this evening really to say thank you to the entire city staff and team for the Veterans Parade. This is the second year in a row I've been one of the many veterans that's been able to participate in the parade. And I thought, again, year prior, we had a little rain. This time we had a lot less, and those of us that own cars that are convertibles could actually put the tops down, so we weren't washed out. And as a kid, I used to be in parades. My mom always volunteered me for what was called Fiesta Days. I'm glad you don't have equestrians, because I was the kid with the wheelbarrow and a shovel at the equestrian parade. The reason I asked for the opportunity for the mayor to speak this evening is just say thank you, but the second is I was so impressed with the quality of the parade that I thought that we might take an advantage, as you've taken advantage of President Eisenhower's programs to develop sister city relationships. President Eisenhower also had a program which took veterans organizations, many of which have outlets, chapters, or posts here in the city of Franklin. There is a national program where the city could make an application and be listed as the regional parade for veterans in our area. That's important from the publicity standpoint, the opportunity that the federal government, in a nonpartisan way, I assure you, this is a group that's run by veterans organizations, and the President of the United States is the honorary chair, but he has never sat over that body. That means all presidents of all stripes. I think this is an opportunity, working with Monique and other members of the city team and our veterans organizations in the city and in the county, to do that. Your city has 4,000 veterans. The county has 10,000. The state, 540,000. I just think it's a great opportunity and a great honor for all of us to have this designation. And I'll be happy to volunteer my time to work with the staff to help move this through the process in Washington if necessary. Again, thank you for the opportunity, and really want to salute you for the great parade. And the citizens were on the street. You were a lot of fun. Thank you for not throwing anything at the cars or the people at the car, in the cars. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
I'm not aware of any communications from the Williamson County Commissions, and we'll go on to approval of the minutes from the Board of Mayor and Alderman work session and the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting from November the 8th, 2022. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you for the second, Alderman Berger. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I see Alderman Potts has come up to the podium, and I'm actually going to turn the podium over to him and Chief Johnson for some recognitions. So go ahead, Alderman Potts. Thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, Mr. Mayor, fellow aldermen, and all of our invited guests, we will recognize the best of Franklin, neighbors helping neighbors in their time of need. We'll honor 4 Ladd Park residents: Mr. Jackson Hayden, John Hayden, Robin Hayden, and Lee Orendorf. They had the courage to step forward recently and make a life-saving difference for their neighbor, Sherry Houston. We're honored to have Ms. Houston with us tonight. I'd like to invite her to come forward, or all of them to come forward, along with Franklin Chief Glenn Johnson, for a few words. Thank you. Chief?
Thank you. This is probably one of the best parts of my job, is recognizing the great community that we live in and the citizens that we have. On October 17th of this year, Lee Ordendorf was driving on the street where she lives. When she saw her neighbor, Sherry Houston, collapse on the sidewalk while walking her dog. Lee shouted for help. Another neighbor, 9-year-old Jackson Hayden, heard her, immediately responded and ran to get his parents while Lee called 911. John and Robin Hayden were alerted of the emergency by their son, Jackson. They ran outside and began CPR on the patient, who was unresponsive and turning blue. They took turns administering rescue breaths and compressions and revised Ms. Houston prior to the arrival of the first responders, being fire and EMS. When the Franklin firefighters arrived, they reported that Ms. Houston was awake, alert, and oriented. And I can fully say that without the intervention of these fine people and the activation of the 911 system, they made it a really positive outturn for her while she's here today. So for playing a vital role in the chain of survival and helping save the life of their neighbor, Sherry Houston, it's my pleasure to present the Fire Chiefs Award to these outstanding citizens. First of all, we've got Jackson Hayden. Hayden. Come on. Congratulations. Jackson, have a little something for you. All right, second off, John Hayden. John, thank you. Thank you. Next, Robin Hayden. Thank you, Robin. Something for you as well. Yes, and okay. So on behalf of the Franklin Fire Department and the City of Franklin, I'd just like to say thank you for what you do. I'd like to give you an opportunity to say a few words if you'd like to. Okay. Well,
Words can't express the blessings that I have in my life, and these people are part of it.
Well, we're happy for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, hold those. Yeah, just squeeze in there. Yeah, that's good.
Can hide behind. Pretty good.
Thank you. I got a good one. Yeah.
What a great act, and what great people we have in Franklin. And I'm going to invite Jessica Jeffers to the podium now, and a new citizen of Franklin. She's the new library director of the Williamson County Public Library. She has 20 years of experience working in public libraries. She came to Williamson County from Florida, and she did bring her husband and 2 children with her. She's most recently been on she was the administrative librarian at Hillsborough County Public Library Cooperative, and formerly worked for the Hernando County, Florida Public Library System and the Chicago, Illinois Public Library System. She's a UCF graduate and received her MLS from the University of South Florida. The Williamson County Public Library Board of Trustees unanimously chose her from an impressive group of over 30 applicants, and she began on Monday, August the 8th, 2022. She displays innovative thinking, problem-solving skills, and brings the vision and energy that our library needs to move forward. So we're glad to welcome you, and glad that people and the citizens of Franklin that use the Williamson County Library can see you, and we'd love for you to say a few words if you'd like, Jessica.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, everyone. I just want to say that I'm very excited to be leading this library system and to be working in this city and for this county. And I really look forward to the possibility of partnering with the city one day to do some great things for our community. So thank you very much for the recognition. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Thank you.
I think Eric has a miscellaneous report.
I have a few different miscellaneous reports to touch on here. First, I want to provide an update to the board as it relates to the Hill project. One of the things you acted on several months ago was a resolution authorizing us to move forward with working with the Hill LLC group. That has continued, but we did provide a deadline in there that will be at the end of this month related to a development agreement. We're not quite there yet, so we're going to ask for an extension related to that. We had a really good meeting just this week. We want to move that development agreement kind of along in parallel with a development plan, which we would bring to the board for some guidance and feedback at a future work session, because you're not just acting in your normal role of approving a development, you are also the property owner and partner in this project. So you're going to provide some input earlier in the process than you typically do in a development, because you are the landowner involved in this. So again, it is not exactly matching up with the timeline we guessed at about 6 months ago, but it is moving forward, and we will provide you with an update and an updated schedule and a initial opportunity to give us feedback on the development plan as it moves forward. So that work is moving on, but since we were getting closer to that initial time frame, I wanted to make that clear that work continues, and that we'll be updating that and sharing that with you as we go forward. The next piece I want to share with you is great. If you like Christmas, you're going to love the next few weeks in Franklin, Tennessee. We're going to be lighting the Christmas tree on Friday night, December 2nd. That program will start around 6:40, I think, is the kickoff for the program, and we'll light the tree that evening. Matthew West is hosting for the 4th time, so he's our first ever 4-timer as a host, along with lots of other music, the Freedom Intermediate Choir, and Jordana, what's Jordana's last name? Bryant? Bryan will also be performing. She's an up-and-coming country singer, so she's going to be part of that as well, and lots of fun for the whole community. So that's going to be taking place. The next Saturday, the next day after that, we'll have the annual Christmas parade, Kiwanis Christmas Parade. That is that Saturday afternoon. The following weekend, December 10th and 11th, will be Dickens of a Christmas. So you've got lots of great community activities celebrating the season that'll kick in between now and the next time we meet on December 13th. One other holiday-related item I want to share with you, both our fire department, firefighters, and our police department are working on gathering toys and clothing for our community and for those who have that need. The 15th Annual Firefighter Christmas Toy and Clothing Drive is underway. You can stop by any fire station, and the hydrants are out there with the gift tags on them. You can pick those up and fill those. And also, the Franklin Police Department is filling toy boxes, which has become a tradition where a gentleman hand makes these wooden toy boxes that we fill with toys. It is in honor of his daughter and grandson who tragically passed away being Good Samaritans on a winter night several years ago. So it's a great way to honor their memory, but also serve children and families with needs in our community. So that can be, you can drop off new unwrapped toys at the Franklin Police Headquarters as well between now and middle of December. So that's a lot of holiday stuff, but we have about 3 weeks between now and when we next meet, and wanted to make sure those were all, everybody was made aware of those great opportunities to celebrate the season. Thank you.
Any other miscellaneous reports? If not, we'll go to the consent agenda and all items in the consent.
One quick thing, Mayor, just to maybe helpful. We do have a special work session the Monday after Thanksgiving, so it's outside of our normal meeting pattern. So Monday, the 28th, we'll be meeting at 5 o'clock in this room in a work session setting. We're going to dedicate that time to further discussion and review of the water and sewer impact fee structure. So just make sure everybody's got that on their calendar as well.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, Alderman Berger.
Eric, can you clarify, do you know if they are collecting coats? Sometimes there's a coat drive. Do we have any?
I think there are some others that do a coat drive. There are coats sometimes that are part of the toy and clothing drive. When you pull those tags, I know I've bought coats over the years for kids,
Okay.
but that is a mix of clothing and toys, some that include coats.
And the clothes are new clothing?
Yes,
Everything
new
is
clothing.
clothing and new
Brand new
toys.
clothing,
Okay,
yes.
just want to clarify
Yeah.
that for people listening.
And one of the things we've heard from GraceWorks actually this year is, in particular, the need is really focused on food needs and food insecurity. So we typically collect with our employees coats. We've been asked by GraceWorks to do food this year, so that's what we're doing. And right outside this door is a list of some of those needs for food if you want to help
I've had a
fill the
couple
pantry at GraceWorks as well.
Constituents ask about coats, but I don't know where to tell them to take them, so.
Also on
I
the
suppose-
Fireman Initiative, if you do not want to shop, they're also accepting donations because what happens towards the end of the cycle, there's still, well, we hope that changes, there's still tags on the trees. So then they in turn have to go out and buy the things that are requested. So if you'd rather make a donation to Franklin Firefighter Association, you can do that instead.
And where would they send those?
There is a PO box that I can get, but there's also, you can find the
I'd look up the Franklin Firefighters Association. David
It's
Edge is the
IAFF
association president.
4738.
So,
Okay. I just want to make sure people are know where.
Yeah.
and if you just Google Franklin Firefighters toy clothing drive, you'll get contact
People will want
information.
to know that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda, and everything on the consent agenda is deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body. They will be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. Tonight, we're considering items number 10 through 17. I would entertain a motion, Alderman Baggett.
Mayor, I'd like to pull number 10.
I hope that you would include a motion to approve the
A
rest of-
motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 10.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Berger. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman was that yes?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It is approved unanimously. We'll now go to item number 3. This is a public hearing. It's consideration of ordinance 2022-26, an ordinance to amend the Franklin zoning ordinance and zoning map as part of the annual update. Kelly, welcome.
Thank you. This is the annual zoning ordinance update. The city has undertaken annual updates since 2019 to keep the ordinance up to date, responsive to the community, and working effectively. This year's amendment includes updates to reflect the state model floodplain ordinance requirements, permit parking areas for publicly owned and operated parks within the floodway, provides some parking relief for small additions under 1,000 square feet to commercial uses in the downtown district where Main Street is, clarify maximum rentals for part-time usage of homes as short-term vacation rentals, allow for overhead utility line improvements for system upgrades and developments that already have overhead utility service, address parking signs in parking lots, improve the performance agreements and sureties requirements to ensure adequate coverage for required improvements as part of a development approval. Some references, clarifications, and other non-substantive amendments. And 2 rezonings, the rezoning for the line work refinement to the Scenic Corridor Overlay District that more accurately reflects the setback distances already in place, and rezoning of several properties on Natchez Street in the National Register Historic District from R6 to Civic Institutional and the Historic Preservation Overlay District. Staff recommends approval, the Planning Commission recommended approval, and tonight's the public hearing.
So this is a public hearing. Does anyone want to speak to this body? If not, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move to approve?
Thank you, Alderman Brown.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Hanson, for the second. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor Barnhill?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We'll now go to item number 4. This is a public hearing, consideration resolution 2022-66, a resolution amending the Carruthers Glen PUD subdivision to extend the vesting rights for the property located at 4338 and 4340 South Carruthers Road.
Thank you. This request is to extend the vesting period for 2 years or until December 9, 2024, to allow the applicant to secure any necessary permits and begin site preparation. This plan is within the first 3-year period and is vested until December 9th, 2022. They currently have a site plan awaiting one-stop approval. The developer cited multiple attempts to obtain the necessary sewer easement from a neighboring landowner and working with staff to realign Carruthers Road as reasons for the delays in progress. In reviewing the plan against the current city regulations, the current plan generally complies. The Planning Commission and Board of Mayor and Aldermen must decide if approving the vesting extension is in the best interest of the community. Franklin Planning Commission recommends approval of Resolution 2022-66 by a vote of 9-0, and staff recommends approval as well.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anyone want to speak to this body on this item? If not, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move for approval.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Second.
Alderman Blanton, seconded by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? Ready to vote?
Mr. Mayor?
I'm sorry?
Mr. Mayor, I
Alderman
do have a
Potts, go
question.
ahead.
Is the, or maybe staff can speak to this, do we know if there's any plans to, currently on their planning map, that there is, it appears that they are not planning on going into Biltmore Court? Has the developer mentioned that at all? Biltmore Court is currently part of the subdivision that's adjacent, which would be to its east. And I think currently that is, that's county. I just wanted to see what the long-term plan was on that.
Like a connection? There's no connection.
If you could just,
I'm Kurt Harakis. I'm here on behalf of the owner and the developer. No, we do not plan on connecting onto that, into the, that outlet into the county.
Okay.
So,
There was much debate to get this passed a few years ago, and that was one of the sticking points.
Okay.
As well as connectivity through the City of Franklin subdivision on the west.
Good. Thank you.
thank you.
Alderman Peterson.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to say that the Williamson County passed a law saying that we could not connect over to Cross Creek subdivision, which is in the county. And so none of the connection, I mean, no connections over to Cross Creek, which is in Williamson County. I mean, it was passed by them, by their, I think there's road committee or something like that. So there would not be any connections
And
at all.
this extension of vesting does not change the plan that you approved.
Okay, good. Yep, that dead end is privately owned by both of those residents right there. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? You ready to vote? Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 5, before I read it, I will say that the Franklin Special School District has requested that this item be deferred until February 28th, 2023. This is ordinance 2022-19, an ordinance to rezone 7.9 acres from Civic Institutional District to Residential R4 District of property located south of Battle Avenue and west of Cannon Street at 1406 Cannon and 319, 401, 403, and 405 Battle Avenue. So I would entertain a motion to defer until February 28th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Peterson. The motion was by Alderman Blanton. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 6 is ordinance 2020, consideration of ordinance 2022-21, an ordinance to rezone 34.30 acres from Regional Commerce 6 District to Plan PD 10.5, 2003 968 per 130 district for the property located north of Cool Springs Boulevard, east of Mac Hatcher Memorial Parkway at 211 Cool Springs Boulevard. The Optima Franklin PUD subdivision established a public hearing on January the 10th, 2023. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Alderman Brown. Any discussion? Seeing none, ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 7 is consideration of resolution to award the construction contract 2022-0114 for the Harlansdale Farm Multi-Use Path Project, City of Franklin Project number 2017-018 to Dement Construction Company LLC in the amount of $3,563,898.03.
Move for approval.
Thank you, and second by Alderman Brown. Any discussion? Oh, happy day.
Oh, happy day.
Ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 8 is City of Franklin Contract 2022-0291, Professional Services Agreement with Civil and Environmental Consultants, Inc. for the park at Harlansdale Multi-Use Trail and Bridge for an amount not to exceed $435,984.
Move to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Potts. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Next is item number 9, is appointment of Brian Stone to the Sustainability Commission. I think that you should have received in your email his bio. He's very qualified, and so look for a motion to approve him.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, and second by Alderman Hanson. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Alderman Hanson?
Yes.
Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 10 is ordinance 2022-09, an ordinance to amend the City of Franklin Municipal Code Appendix A, Comprehensive Fees and Penalties, Chapter 16, Streets and Sidewalks, et cetera, for the purpose of establishing a fee in lieu of building sidewalks. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Blanton. Alderman Baggett, I think you maybe wanted to make some comments or questions, and I have Mr. Holzen here that can
Yeah, and thank you
possibly
for,
shed some light. So.
yeah, as I was reviewing this, I recalled our last extended sidewalk conversation at Magnolia Hall. And had a great discussion with Paul about the fee that was $19 per square foot, and this is now $93 a square foot. And so, and I think what caused me to want to have some discussion, and I have no problem voting for this, but I do think we need to think about the magnitude of that change and the one internal sidewalk, and correct my math if I'm wrong, but I believe, I mean, I did it, so hopefully it's right. But no, it is. I double checked it. So it's that middle internal sidewalk was would be was $100,000 fee in lieu of, and just the one internal one. And this would be a $500,000 fee under 93. And granted, this doesn't happen a lot, so this is not a fee every developer pays. This is if they choose not to build the sidewalk, which this is certainly going to create the incentive for folks to build the sidewalk, which is good. It's not a bad thing. I think my concern was just to hear for everyone to hear kind of where that number came from, and then, you know, how that fares versus other municipalities. And the whole crux is, I just don't want us talking about sidewalks or developers coming to us and they don't want to build the sidewalk, they don't want to pay the fee, and they can't come up with staff can't come up with a deal, and so we're debating sidewalk prices. So if that number is going to incent to do the right thing, and then or is it going to cause more sidewalk conversations? So, and I'm happy to vote for this. I think I wanted the board to kind of weigh in with me on that. I don't think any of us want to.
Alderman Baggett brings up some good points. So I'm going to try to walk you through a little bit of the history of how we got to that number, and really what the options are. So what we did is we looked back at our latest sidewalk projects that we've done. We focused on the open ditch type projects because those are typically the more expensive projects that we have to do a design for, we have to relocate utilities, we have to buy easements, and all that gets factored into it. And what we determined is on those two projects, the average cost was that $93 per square foot is what we are paying as a city to go into the built environment and retrofit in the open ditch type scenario. Now, if you have existing curb and gutter and it's flat, you're not doing utility relocations, yes, that cost is much less than that $93 a square foot. But generally speaking, developers are happy to put those sidewalks in along their frontage for the most part. Magnolia Hall is a little bit different. I've been doing this for 14 years. I've never had a single developer ever say, I don't want to put a sidewalk internal to my development. Outside the development, we've had that conversations many times. And right now, to be honest, that fee has kind of changed over the years as to whichever engineer looks at it or whatever number they come up that for the fee in lieu of. So we really just wanted to try to standardize what that fee should be. And again, that fee is based off of our experience, our latest two projects, what we have paid as a city to do it. And again, the goal is to incentivize them to put the sidewalk in. You know, if they want to pay the fee, that's great. They always have the option to put the sidewalk in. So if they can put it in for $12 a square foot, we have no objections to them putting that sidewalk in. Talking a little bit with planning about it, the zoning ordinance does give some specific instances where a sidewalk is not required. And if it's not being required by the city, then there would be no fee in lieu of. And so we would need to definitely take a look at that as we look to update that. Another thing I shared with Alderman Baggett is, what is Metro Nashville? They calculate, what do they charge? They have a fee in lieu of as well. They charge theirs based on linear foot. It's $263 per linear foot. Linear foot really doesn't make sense because is it a 5-foot wide sidewalk? Is it a 12-foot wide sidewalk? We thought the square footage approach was a better option, and they looked at both curb and gutter and open ditch. But really, if it's curb and gutter, they should just put the sidewalk in staff's opinion. It's very easy, it's not expensive to do, but I can promise you on the exterior of Magnolia Hall, if we ever went back to put sidewalk in on some of those, it would probably cost us more than $93 a square foot. Internal's a little different.
But the linear foot, just so we heard two, linear foot and square foot's not the same. That's about, you said like $50 to $60, something, it's $55 a square foot.
Thank you. If you assume a 5-foot wide sidewalk, it'd be $52.60 a square foot. They calculate theirs differently than we did, and
So
different
I
number of
foresee-
projects.
I
so-
foresee a situation where the ordinance says 93, and if everyone on staff and the developer feels like it's reasonable that it should be, for whatever special situation, it should be, can we add a provision that gives the staff some leeway to negotiate this so that we're not coming back for every exceptions to the, I mean, I don't know, there's gonna be a lot of it, but sometimes you see us coming, or you come back to us and ask us to give staff more latitude, like, right, to negotiate something. I mean, if $93 is all you've got, but you think it should be 50, you're just gonna have to bring it back to us to vote on the sidewalk fee of.
Yeah, if we, I don't think we would have the authority, once it's in municipal code,
Can we
to
give you
vary
the
from it.
authority, someone to make some,
I think we could. I think I'd have to talk with our legal department about it, and we'd have to take a step back and look at it. We're happy to do so.
I mean, just try not to, I mean, that's a big number. There's gonna be some people, like, y'all just need to negotiate the sidewalk fee, and
They don't negotiate. They don't. go-
we're not
We
negotiating.
don't
There's-
negotiate, no.
There's there are other situations where you've had situations where you didn't have the ability to negotiate
Yeah,
different
different.
things or set differently, and we had to come back to us to approve parkland fees and da-da-da.
Yeah.
It's just a big number, and I just think there are gonna
I
be
see what you're
challenges. I know that's our cost, but
Oh, wait, that's,
You got to set a number, you got to set some structure.
It needs to be the number we go with for all project moving forward. If you don't like 93, let's come up with another number, but, and as someone's preparing to do their project and thinking through sidewalks, they need to know, if I don't want to do sidewalks, what am I looking at as far as fees? So you just need to be consistent. We can't really negotiate that number.
See,
It
they're
just
not
needs to be
gonna
set.
negotiate.
And whatever you guys think, I mean, the experts are telling us where it needs to be, but if you think it should be something different, you can make an amendment.
well, I guess the question would be, you were talking about the most recent projects. Not every project is like those most recent expensive projects where they had to change the utilities, right?
Well, the thought process was the open ditch section is generally when developers are saying, we don't want to put the sidewalk in. That's what we base it off of. Usually when there's curb and gutter out in front of the development, or they're being already required to curb and gutter it, there's usually no fight over the sidewalk. It's an expectation for the most part in Franklin, and they are generally happy to do it for the most part.
So when, you have all these costs when you get into an open ditch situation, so that's why we've relied on the examples we have, because they required all those different elements to be in place.
Correct.
But there are situations in developments that are not open ditch that the city chooses in those developments to request the fee in lieu of instead of them building it, because maybe we're improving the intersection, we'd rather have the fee in lieu of instead of them doing it, right?
Yes, I would say they always have the option to put it in if they choose to.
Themselves.
Yeah, if they choose to put it in, they always have that option. And that's generally the staff's preference.
To put it in.
Got Alderman Berger when you're finished, Alderman Bag. Go ahead, Alderman Berger.
He said when he's finished. Okay, yeah, we discussed this in CIC, and I think once we understood the cost to the city, that was an eye-opener. And you're right, most of these people are going to do it because it's required of them and we expect them to do it. If it's an unusual situation and we have to do it, we better darn well cover our cost. So if you're saying it costs the city $93 to do it, I think we need to stay with that. I think we need to do that because it's going to be an exception. It's usually, they're putting it in, there's usually not an issue, but when there is, we have to cover our cost. So that's why I will support the 93.
And I'm not saying I don't agree with the cost. I just can see us getting more sidewalk conversations brought before us because someone doesn't agree with it, but that's fine, let's
but
go
they
for
usually-
it. If we start getting a lot of requests for, because what happens if they don't, just like we did with Optima, if you can't come to, if they don't like it, then it comes up, well, you can always take it to BOMA. I don't want a lot of those coming through with.
Well,
with-
that's a whole different.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't want, if they can't come, if they don't agree with it and y'all are at an impasse, then what staff says is bring it before BOMA and they can decide on a different fee.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't, is that right?
I don't know if you can compare it with roads, though. I mean, roads are, you're talking a whole different kind of scenario with
Well, that one
roads.
sidewalk would be $500,000.
With roads, and so we're talking sidewalks, and as Paul said, most of the people do them. This is sort of rare, isn't it, that this
Yes, I
happens?
can
Very
think of
rare.
about
So
3 in 14 years.
I feel like a cat sometimes batting something back and forth, when it's just sort of plain and simple to me.
Mayor, I'd like to call the question.
They normally do
That's
it. They normally do it.
All in favor of calling the question?
Aye.
Ready to vote?
Sure.
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Alderman Blanton? Yes. Alderman Hanson? Yes. Alderman Peterson?
Yes.
Alderman Berger?
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Baggett?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. I did fail to recognize that Brian Stone, new appointee to the Sustainability Commission, is here, and so we welcome you, Brian, and so that's what he looks like. So I need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Thank you. Seconded by Alderman Potts. All in favor? Say aye. Okay, let's go to executive session.
Okay, okay, I think she was right, I think it will.
I'm still getting, is that the one you're using?
Are there any matters to be considered from executive session? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second to Alderman Berger's motion?
Second then.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.